Hey YouTube, Matt the Lore Master here. Today I'm going over 2nd edition AD&D's ability scores. If you played other editions, it's pretty much the same kind of thing, but a little bit different in the specifics. I'm going to speak as if the viewer has never played a D&D or a related game, so it's going to be a lot of review for those that do, but for those that don't, hopefully a lot of good new information for you. So, in 2nd Ed D&D, there are 6 ability scores: Strength, Dexterity, Constitution, Intelligence, Wisdom, and Charisma. Strength is your physical strength. It's how much you can lift, how much you can carry, and when the score gets high enough or low enough, it affects how much damage you do in combat and how accurate you are in combat. Dexterity is both manual dexterity and your agility. So it affects how well you can use missile weapons, how good you are at some thief skills, picking pockets, that kind of thing, and how well you can avoid someone in combat. Constitution is your hardiness. It helps you get extra hit points each level, which is wonderful. It also helps you survive massive amounts of damage, which is a problem in this game, and also affects your resurrection, and at very high scores also gives you help save against poison. Next we have Intelligence, which is kind of your book smarts. This is really the wizard's primary stat. It also gives players extra starting languages and has little use outside of wizards, really. So, added proficiencies as well. Proficiency system we'll be talking about later on in another video also gets affected by intelligence, so perhaps good for that. Next is our Wisdom, which is kind of a street smart stat. Very good for clerics, and if it gets high enough, or low enough sadly, it also affects people's saves against mind-affecting spells. Charisma is your acceptability in society, your je ne sais pas quoi, your likability. It doesn't have anything to do with appearance, so you can be a butt-ugly warrior with half his face missing, but if you have a good story to go along with that massive facial injury, you still can have amazing charisma. So, how do you get stats in 2nd Ed? The player's handbook lists, I believe, 6 different methods, which kind of span between the 1st edition's methods and later edition methods. So the first method, inherited from 1st edition, is 3d6 down the line. You roll 3d6 for each stat, and whatever you get is what you have. If you get all below 8, you get to re-roll, because then you can't have a class, because the system requires you to have good stats for classes. Well, okay stats for classes. Method 2 is rolling 2 sets of 3d6 and then deciding which one you like better and selecting that for each stat, and then do that on down the line. It's a little better for your stats, better chance of getting higher stats. The next one is similar to newer stuff, it's commonly used, is rolling 3d6 6 times and then assigning those stats as you wish. Still can have very low stats, but it allows you to more specifically choose your class. Method 4 is rolling 12 sets of 3d6 and then choosing the top 6 out of that. It's similar to the above one, but it also gives you the ability to pick the best ones out of all of the stat rolls. Roll method number 5 is rolling 4d6 and discarding the lowest. This is very similar to ones you can use, well, typically are used in later editions, where people usually roll 4d6, discard the lowest, and re-roll 1s, and sometimes re-roll 2s. But that's a little bit power gamey to me, so I kind of stick with re-rolling just the 1s. But in this system it says you're just supposed to roll 4d6, discard the lowest. And you get to assign those. 6th method in the system is rather complicated. You start out with 8 points, and you roll 7 dice. The total's and each die set is its own number you can add to the 8 for each stat, or individually to the stats. And you can try to add it to whichever ones you want to build yourself to the class you want, but you cannot add more than getting to the 18. If you get more than 18, the system doesn't allow for you to just stop at 18. It says you have to get there by exact count. If your DM says you can just go over 18 and count as 18, then that's more power to you. Hope he does. So, I see I'm running about 5 minutes 30 seconds, so I will try to go a little more detail on the stats. Strength adjustments, it helps your hit chance, your damage, and also how much you're allowed to carry, how much you can pick up at a single time. Your strength checks, which we'll talk about more in proficiencies, to open doors, and a special one called bend bar and lift gates, which is doing some epic feat of strength. Dexterity is your missile attack adjustment, your defense adjustment, and reaction adjustment. The reaction adjustment modifies dice rolled if a character is surprised when he is unexpectedly encountered. So it's a surprise counter roll adjustment, which surprises in second ed are kind of hard to deal with. Constitution, as I said before, hit point adjustment, system shock, so if you take more than 50 points of damage or more than, I believe it's half your health, if some DMs like to go letter of the law on that, then you have to roll system shock to see if you survive. Even with a stat of 1, which you can't physically roll, you still get a 25% chance of surviving, so the likelihood of dying from a single strike that does a lot of damage when it doesn't actually kill you isn't particularly high. Resurrection survival, because you have to re-roll when you're revived, is also done here, and poison saves, but those are only adjusted if you have a stat of 1, 2, or 19 or above. Not something you're going to run into unless you're a dwarf with stat adjustment up to 19, or seriously cursed with some magical malady. Yep. Intelligence, as I said, does languages, proficiencies, affects what spell level the wizard can learn, and chance of spell failure. Oh, chance to learn spell. Sorry, spell failure is the other one. Chancing of a wizard to learn a spell when reading it from another wizard's book, and how many spells the wizard can get. Also, it affects your spell immunity, which only at set of 19, which you can get as a elf. It's an elf. You can get as an elf, and it's illusion immunity to first level illusion spells. Wisdom gets you magical defense at higher numbers and magical undefense at lower levels for mind spells. Gives bonus spells to clerics, and lists the chance of spell failure for clerics with no chance after you get past 13 and up higher. So that's always good. Charisma determines how many henchmen you can have, how loyal the henchmen are to you, and reaction adjustment from other people as based on a reaction table in the DM's handbook. So you don't have to worry about that most of the time. Yep, so that's all I got to say about stats. Hope you roll well. As you noted, for those who play other editions, there is no point buy system listed in here. I guess you could jerry-rig something if you wanted to go down to it, or you could just jump to the trenches of second ed and just try to roll at it. Okay, I hope this was helpful and informative. Next session we're going to move on to the races. Have a good day, and talk to you later. Bye.